Hi again, folks. I'm John Beilfuss, the executive chef of the temporarily shuttered Lula's Louisiana Cookhouse here in Owasso, Michigan. And guess what? Oh, you already know this. Tomorrow, March 26th, is National Jambalaya Day. And so why don't we make some jambalaya today? I'm going to show you our home recipe, the recipe that was the forerunner of how we make it at the restaurant here today. And I sure hope you enjoy it. Let's get started. First thing we do, of course, is our mise en place, which is it's French for get your shit together. So here it is, and these are our ingredients. Don't worry, don't have to run and scramble to write it all down. I'm going to print it at the end of this film. First thing we're going to do is we're going to add this pound of andouille into, I've used bacon grease here because I have some, but you could just as easily use vegetable oil, any kind of fat that you have. And what we're doing here is we just want to brown this andouille up, get that flavor into the pot, and then we're going to pull it out while we do some other things here. This will probably saute for about 5 minutes. I'll turn it a couple times to try to brown it on each side. So I pulled that sausage out and set it aside for a few minutes. Now we're going to put our Holy Trinity in. About 3 years ago, Molly Abraham, the head food writer for the Detroit News, was sweet enough and kind enough to talk Our Detroit magazine, apparently, into doing a little article on me. And this recipe is what we did. Thank you, Molly Abraham, and thank you, Our Detroit, for taking this recipe and putting it on the map. Thank you, guys. So we've been going for about 5 minutes here, and the vegetables are softening up nicely. I just threw in the 3 minced cloves of garlic just to soften them for another 30 seconds before we start adding all of the other ingredients. So I'm going to start with the stock, just so it'll deglaze that pan a little bit. This was 6 ounces of tomato paste. Your basic, the small can you get at the grocery store. That's one of those. And this is my seasoning blend. That'll be on the recipe at the end of the day. This is our 1 cup of diced tomatoes. 1 pound of frozen okra. 1 cup of long grain rice. Now we're going to save back, the one thing we don't put in yet is the shrimp. We're going to save that for the last 10 to 15 minutes of the cook time. So let me get a picture of this for you. And we're going to bring this to a boil, and then we're going to turn it down and simmer it for about 15 minutes. When I was a kid, my grandfather lived in Shreveport, Louisiana, which down there is up north. He ran a boat livery on Cross Lake, and we would go down every summer and see him. And what a different world it was. We got in the newspaper because we went to Louisiana. That was a big trip in those days. But anyways, it was just wonderful. And all my first memories of real food and family are those trips to Shreveport, Louisiana. You may or may not know, I lost my parents when I was young. And so there's all these questions that you'd like to ask. I have no idea. We went to Baton Rouge every time we went to Shreveport. We went and visited relatives in Baton Rouge, and but we never went to New Orleans. But then there were all these pictures of my mom and dad in New Orleans, and I've got a beautiful painting that my father did of a woman in New Orleans, but we never went to New Orleans, and I never knew why until about 10 years ago. Yeah, exactly 10 years ago, we took a family trip to New Orleans. It was one of our first ones. It was our first one. And we were on Royal Street, and we went 1 block over to Bourbon Street, and Morgan's on one side, our daughter Allie's in the middle. We turned the corner on Bourbon Street, and I then knew for sure why my parents had never taken me as a young man to New Orleans. And we just were like, oh my God, no, and turned around and acted like it didn't happen. You've got to go to New Orleans if you haven't been there. Avoid some areas if you got little kids with you, but it is one of the most wonderful places on earth to be. I hope you all get a chance to go. Okay, this has been simmering for about 12 minutes. Stir it a couple times. It's time to put our pound of shrimp back in and our pound of brown andouille. We're going to stir that. Simmer it on low for about 15 minutes. Stir it every few minutes to make sure it doesn't stick to the bottom, and we'll be good to go. Look how good that's looking. We probably got about 10 more minutes. Stir it a couple times, taste for salt, and we're going to be good. This is almost done here. One of the things I love most about this base recipe, you can use any meat you would like. You could make it vegetarian, skip the sausage and the shrimp, and it's a lovely vegetarian dish. I make it with chicken frequently, and I'll put the chicken in earlier than I would have the shrimp because it takes longer for chicken to cook than shrimp. Again, any kind of sausage you want, ham, chunks of bacon, anything you'd like. You can make this a million different ways. Creole jambalaya is different, this is Creole jambalaya, is different from Cajun jambalaya in the tomatoes. If you go into Cajun land and you get a jambalaya, it's going to be brown. It's delicious. Probably going to be a little spicier, but the basic difference that I've always seen between the two types, Creole and Cajun, are the Creole has tomatoes and your jambalaya is going to be red. And here's what it looks like after about another 15 minutes. I'm going to turn it off now and let it sit for 5, and we'll be ready to go. Well, there's the finished product. Looks damn good. I can't wait to jump in. I've got my wife coming over for a bowl. I sure hope you enjoyed this video, and happy Jambalaya Day, National Jambalaya Day, and we'll see you again soon.